How's it going this week, everybody? This week I'm going to be having on a gentleman that saw an extraterrestrial craft in the sky when he was about 6 years old. It's a short story, but I'm glad he came on to share it. It's very interesting. After that, him and I started talking about his family's interesting encounters, and some of them are just kind of unexplained, but creepy nonetheless. Just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that's been signing up for the membership. I do appreciate it. If you are interested in the membership, you head over to challengetheunknown.com. You can get early access to new content. Thanks for listening. I got you. And so you were 5 or 6 at the time. How many years ago would this have been?
How many years ago? This would have been like 14 years ago, almost.
Okay. So okay. That's quite a while ago. So that would be like
2013, 14.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So keep going. What happened next?
So what happened is I was on my porch and I was doing what I always do, talk to myself in the backyard, creating little stories in my head, usually about superheroes and stuff and, things like that. I didn't really have too many friends. I barely have any friends right now. So I just talked to myself a lot. So I was looking up in the air and then I see these three, like they're small at first, these three little things moving around in the air. And they're moving. They're constantly moving in a triangle formation. It's not like they're still at all,
Right. Was it nighttime or daytime?
It was around 6, 7 where I am.
Okay.
And I was about to head inside before I saw this,
Mm-hmm.
So the sun started going down already by the time I saw this.
Okay.
And I remember way off in the distance, I also saw a jet plane. And, that also gave me some reference on how big it was. It was much bigger than the jet plane. There's a lot of planes that go over this area, and I'm like, wow. So that's why I was looking at it in the first place,
Yeah,
so when I was a kid, I see a lot of airplanes with the lights and stuff, but this looked way different.
Okay. And you're saying that, so these 3 lights, were they lights or were they objects that you could see?
I couldn't tell. It's been so long that I can't even tell if they were objects or lights or not. But they were pretty bright, bright enough that you could see them around 6. The sun was still out a bit.
And were they independent of each other, or were they one craft?
They were all moving, but they're all moving in a singular formation, like it was a spinning object that had lights on it. Okay, interesting. So then what happens? Yeah. So what happens is it starts getting starts going down closer to at first it was probably way up in the air, like where the clouds are, then it started going down and down,
Mm-hmm.
And it just sits there for a good 2 minutes, still spinning around, but just solitary now, and I'm just looking at it because I'm a little kid, so I believe everything. So I'm just looking at it, not really telling anybody because I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm just watching it. And jet plane starts moving closer or whatever. And then, when it's, I don't know, pretty far away, but still, heading towards it, it just disappears. It just, kind of floats up into the air, really fast. And then I go inside and I say, hey, Dad, I saw a spaceship. And he's like, okay, cool. And, I still think about that. I didn't really care as a kid, If I was an adult, I would have been like, oh my God, guys, come out here, look at this. I remember when the SpaceX launch happened over here, when everybody thought that was a spaceship.
Yeah.
I was going crazy, taking pictures and stuff, but I didn't even have a phone back then. So,
well, yeah, I don't think you knew what you were looking at back then.
Yeah. I didn't know what I was looking at. I knew what spaceships were, but I mean, I imagined, the UFO tin pie can thing,
Yeah, like flying saucer, classic stuff.
Yeah, flying saucer type stuff. So when I saw it, I was just like, oh, that's cool, I my parents have had some weird experiences because my dad used to live in the middle of nowhere in Mexico.
Yeah. Okay.
He lived in a barn in the 70s, 60s. Like I've been there only once when I was I'd like to say 8, but I can't really remember that well because we were there for one day. And over there it's really quiet. It's so quiet that like your ears start to hurt. There's nothing at all.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes there's crickets. So my dad said that when he was younger, when he was about 12, he heard some really weird stuff, like mechanical type stuff, and they didn't have TV, they didn't have like any sort of lights that could make any noise. So he said that was weird. And my sister lived over there for a while. She said she just like heard nothing, but she looked out into this night sky and it was always like either super, super black or there was just one star,
Yeah, tell me more about this sound that they heard. Mechanical?
So when my dad was a little kid, he heard like this really, really high pitched sound over like it wasn't like coming from his ears. He could tell that it was something over like the barn, And they raise chickens there and stuff. They're not cows, there's no cow abduction. And he just heard like this really weird noise at night. And his parents always told him about, stories like Tekakui and things that would come and eat him if he was up at night, So he thought it was just that, And he said that it was, my dad doesn't believe in any of this stuff. So he said it was probably just something from his ears messing with him. But he said that he was really scared that night.
Interesting.
And that he doesn't really like going back there, mostly because his stepfather used to, mess with him, but also because of how quiet it was over there. He didn't like it. Like always a weird feeling around there.
Yeah, it's a little too quiet if you catch my drift. That's really interesting, man,
And it's Mexico. That's where they say all the stuff goes down.
Yeah, it's
that Nevada.
It's weird stuff out there, man. Yeah. Let me ask you this, man. What do you think these things are? Do you believe in the extraterrestrial little green men, little gray men stuff?
I don't. I'm just saying my philosophy is that there has to be something out. I don't think it's like little green men, but there has to be something out there. The universe is near infinite. I mean, we can't be the only ones. They might be like trillions and trillions of galaxies away, but they're there.
Yeah, no, statistically speaking, there has to be something out there. As for whether or not it's here is the question.
They found little shrimp things that live in space, that were able to survive out there.
Yeah, they find all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, little bacterias. Nothing crazy yet.
But that's proof of life, regardless. It shows that it's possible.
That's proof that there's something out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a bit more interested in ghosts, but nothing like that's ever happened to me,
Yeah. Nah, man, the ghost stuff is really spooky. That stuff really, really gets to you.
My dad used to say there was weird hitchhikers near his, he lived in a gas station too, but there's a bit more stuff around him. But he said there was weird hitchhikers around there. And once that they came over to his house and they offered a can of Coke for his baby brother. They're just really weird people around there.
The hell?
Yeah, they offered a 12-pack of Coke for his baby brother, and they didn't speak English, so they were like, hey, you want this Coke? And they were like, okay. But then they took the baby brother and they're like, what are you doing? That's not a trade.
What the hell?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
There's just weird people around there. There's hitchhikers who will stay on the roads for like hours, not even move up. They'll just stay in the exact same spot for hours. Like, don't know if they're on drugs or anything.
Yeah. Interesting, man. That's really really creepy. That's for sure. That's not necessarily anything paranormal, but that's still really creepy.
Yeah, that's not paranormal. That's just weird stuff.
100%, man.
My uncle said that, like, we were talking about this one night, like just around the fire, we were saying ghost stories and stuff, and nobody really had any crazy ones, and all of them were usually made up. But my uncle had one that he used to live in, like near Mexico. I'd like to say like around the border,
Yeah.
And there's a bit more residential areas. But he used to play hide and seek with his friends, and once he went into, I forgot what it was. It was probably a cabin, not cabin. What's the Mexican thing for that? I don't know. Just a little shack, I guess, out in where they lived.
Right.
And he was just in there hiding, and he just starts like hearing whispers, voices, and he's just staying in there because like he doesn't want to be found,
Mm-hmm.
But then he starts to be like hear like stuff rattling around there, like what's in there, and that's when he gets out. And that's when he finds out they've been looking for him for like 6-7 hours, and he thought he's been in there for like an hour.
That's creepy, man.
Yeah, they were like, man, why were you gone for so long? We finished the game already.
Oh man, that's freaky. That's really creepy.
Yeah. I've never had anything with that happen to me,
Yeah, no man, it's weird. Some people have very intense experiences with that kind of stuff throughout their lives, and some people never experience anything, It's
usually when I ask anybody like that I know about this, it happens to them as kids. I haven't met too many people who it's happened to them as adults.
That's fair. I get that, you know.
You might just have you might just see more because you don't have any of the stuff that's put on you as an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, like as an adult, you see stuff on TV every day of people ghost hunting and things. Like I watch those sometimes, and you're like, oh, it's all fake. So something like that maybe does happen in the background. You're not gonna focus on it.
Yeah, it's Hollywood for you, It's interesting. I like Ghost Adventures. I think that they're credible.
Ghost Adventures is good. I like BuzzFeed Unsolved because when they find stuff, they don't find stuff. Usually it's like, oh, they hear a noise or it's a creepy feeling. They're not like, oh my god, look at the figure in the room. Yeah,
no, I watched those guys for a while. They're fun because there's the whole dynamic of one guy's way into it and the other guy's like, man, this is all BS. So
yeah, it kind of gives you an anchor, and a feeling of going in there. I've been there's some like famous haunted places around here. I've been to like 2, and none of them are like I never feel anything.
Yeah,
like, there's sometimes like they'll have like the spooky history. I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, but I'll never be like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying,
Yeah, no, I get that, and I think that outside of those very intense encounters, you're not really going to get much of a reaction outside of that. There's a weird noise or whatever, and those super intense encounters that people describe are super, super rare,
I've seen some videos of people using spirit boxes and getting extremely good answers, like kind of too good to be like, faked.
Right.
Because like the people they've done the spirit boxes in places of serious like intensity, and they just get actual clear answers like to their questions and stuff. Sometimes they'll say their name. I get into that stuff because kind of gives you a feeling that there's something more.
Yeah, and it's fun too, that's one of the whole reasons I do this show is, some people take this stuff way too seriously, man. Like,
oh yeah,
it's supposed to be fun, and I want to believe, fun.
Yeah,
and,
that's the thing. Yeah, you always gotta be open-minded about it. If there's somebody who brings scientific evidence on how your thing happened, you're not supposed to discredit them. You'll be like, oh, thanks, the closure.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you checked out our Facebook page, but it's...
No, I checked out your YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they're the Facebook page is where like majority of our audience is, and I
Ah,
post like creepy photos and stuff, and people send me in stuff
mm.
sometimes, and then sometimes I kind of surf the internet looking for those old internet like pictures and stuff where it's like, oh,
So
here's the creepy
is it
Sasquatch or whatever.
is it all you, or is there like a couple people?
It's just me nowadays. I used to have another
Mm.
guy with me, but he decided
So
to go his
you
own way now. No,
yeah, you saw my thing on Reddit talking about that.
yeah, no, I saw your thing on Reddit doing the describing the UFO that you saw, and that's what really grabbed my
Yeah,
attention. So I decided to send
yeah,
you a message and ask you if you wanted to come on. But
yeah,
yeah, man, it's interesting. Going back to the whole
yeah.
people take this a little too seriously is on the Facebook page. I'll post stuff where it's really just that internet history where it's never going to be proven one way or the other. It's just kind of fun to think about, like, what if this is real, even though 90% of this
Hmm.
stuff is probably hoaxes.
Yeah,
But people will get in the comments, and I don't even read comments anymore because there's just too many.
yeah. I
And
mean,
it's
reading comments is really not good for your soul.
yeah, no, it's just like a bunch of people that are like, they're photo experts, and they want to tell you that, oh,
Yeah.
I
Oh, this is all
enhanced
fake.
this and it's definitely fake, and I'm like, you just blew out the contrast and the brightness on the
It's not
photo.
supposed. It's not supposed to be real. You know. It's like
Right. It's like the reality of it is most of the stuff is probably fake. And in terms of the
it's
internet
like
history photos, like most of that stuff is probably just internet creepypasta hoaxes, and you're supposed to
yeah.
look at that.
I watch this guy on YouTube, Captain Disillusion. He does that stuff, but he really only does it like for things that actually are affecting things, like when they get on the news and stuff. He's like, okay, guys, we can stop sharing this everywhere. Here's how it was fake.
Right. Yeah, and some of them, you know,
Sometimes it goes a bit too far.
yeah, it can go a bit too far, but
Like
go
you
ahead.
post an image of a smudge on a screen, and now everybody's like, oh my gosh, dude, are you okay?
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be fun, and there's a couple people that take it a little too seriously, but that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles, and everyone's allowed to have enjoy it in their own way, I guess. Where if you want to come in
Hmm.
and shit on everything, like more power to you. You know that's your,
Yeah.
your right to do it. So I can't say that you shouldn't do that. Caught one of my wires there. So it is what it is, man. And I love this whole world. I love the alien topic and the UFO topic and ghosts
Yeah.
and Bigfoot and cryptids, skinwalkers. I love
I
all
don't,
of that shit, man.
I always feel like the monster stuff, like Bigfoot and skinwalkers and stuff. I always feel like that's more creepy because I feel like that could really happen.
Yeah,
I
man.
feel like
It's like a
there could
physical
be
thing.
something. You know, I'm always scared of stuff in the ocean. They haven't found like a good 80% of those things.
Oh, dude, who
There
knows
could
what's
be
out there,
some.
man? Who
There
knows?
could be some Lovecraftian monster horror living under the sea, and we don't even know exists. Probably eating everybody who ever saw it.
See, exactly my point. It's the what if. That's what's fun about
So
this.
what if?
What if
It's the
there is one?
what ifs are the basis of science. We're like, oh, what if this happens? Oh, and then you test it, and then if it doesn't, then it's not true. If you test it and it does, there you go.
There you go, brother. We're sitting at
Yep.
right about 20 minutes now, brother. I think it's about time we wrap this up, but I'm glad you came
Yeah,
on to tell your story, and I love talking to
it
you,
was
man.
nice talking to you. I've never been on a podcast.
Yeah, no, man, I loved having you on, and thanks for making the time for me, brother. And I'll send you an
You're
email when
welcome.
this is all done, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.